Hey, what's up expats and travelers alike? I'm Josh with Expats Everywhere. Today, Kaylee sits down with Kate. Kate's a German that's living in Chicago, USA. She's been there 2 years and she talks about what life is like there, how to get started, safety advice, and more.
Welcome to Expats Everywhere. Can you tell us your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Kate. I'm originally from Germany and I moved to Chicago about 2 years ago.
Have you worked in any other countries besides the US?
Yes, so I worked in Taiwan, I worked in Spain, and I worked and studied in the UK.
Great. So let's focus on Chicago. What's it like working in Chicago?
It's a great city. I mean, it's like the third biggest city in the country and there is so much to do and so many people and job opportunities. So I like to have the flexibility of working from home and co-working spaces and having like this metropolitan vibe.
So what kinds of jobs are available for expats?
So there are a lot of jobs in the medical industry because we have like 2 huge hospitals. However, I realized throughout the last 2 years there are many startups now coming to town, and there are also quite a few headquarters like McDonald's and Google coming back to town. They have been in the neighborhoods and suburbs before, but they're moving back now. So I guess you can find pretty much everything right now.
And what do you do?
I'm a coach, so I'm self-employed. I started my own business when I moved here to the US. And I'm helping expats to find a job and to make themselves comfortable and getting used to the culture and stuff like that. My website is called sharethelove.blog, and on that I offer free resources and content for expat partners. And I also offer like coaching sessions and consulting sessions all around the topic of finding your professional identity abroad. I started the whole business 2 years ago when I found out that the accompanying spouse who is moving along her husband to the US or somewhere else in the world is often kind of lost and struggles with finding a job. Maybe there's no work permit at the very beginning. There are many questions. So while the husband is going to work and has his desk and his job and duties, the wife is often alone at home, and it's my job to get back the confidence and the inspiration and answer the question, okay, what do you do now? Like how to use the time you have abroad now, how to find a job, and if you can't find a job because of work permit, how can you improve your skill set and stuff like that.
Great. And so what does a typical day look like for you?
So usually I have like coaching sessions in the morning when I'm talking to people in Europe, and then I'm going to some co-working space, write a little bit, creating new resources, and then back home I usually have like some coaching session with the other part of the world.
All right, so if someone is self-employed in Chicago, how much can they expect to earn?
It totally depends on what you are doing, what industry. But it should be roughly something about 70,000 US dollars to make yourself comfortable, in my guess. So yeah, check that out before.
All right, and what kind of lifestyle can you live with 70,000 a year?
So 70,000 would be roughly the average of the salary in Chicago. And if you're not planning on living in the center of the city, you could afford like a 1-bedroom apartment and go to restaurants from time to time and stuff like that. And if you're moving a little bit up between 70,000 and 100,000, you can actually considering moving more into city center and have more activities.
How much would someone spend on an apartment that's outside of the city?
Like 1,200, something roughly about that.
Okay, so if someone's making 70,000, can you save any of that?
I'm from Germany, so Germans like to save a lot. And when you ask me that question, I would say, no, you can't save anything. If you ask the same question to an American, I guess, yeah, he would say, sure, you can save a couple of $100. So it depends on your expectations there. Like me personally, I like to save like 1/3 of my salary. That's quite tough here in Chicago.
All right, if someone is planning to move to Chicago, how much money do they need to have with them to get started?
It depends how comfortable you are and just, coming into town and doing something. If you put yourself out there right away and be very proactive, searching jobs and taking on everything you can find, my gut feel would be like 10 to 20,000. But yeah, again, I'm German and a bit more risk averse, so yeah.
So someone has a job, they're moving to Chicago. What's the weather like and how should they pack?
So Chicago has like quite some strong seasons. So we have very, very cold winters and very hot summers. So it's a great time to arrive here in spring. I hear when people arrive in autumn, it's like quite a tough time ahead. So prepare for that to experience a long, long and cold winter. But there are still so many activities you can do. And if you're a little bit prepared and bring the right jacket, it's all good.
All right, so a big jacket, definitely.
Yeah.
Good. Is there anything you can't find in Chicago that you should bring with you from your home country?
I mean, it's still the third biggest city in the US. And at the beginning, I got care packages from home with like, you know, typical things like German bread or my favorite makeup and stuff like that I couldn't find. But if you are living here for a while, you know where to get all the stuff. So we have a huge Polish community, Ukrainian community. So if you are into European products, very easy to find there. And if you're more in the Asian products, we have Chinatown, all the stuff. So after a couple of time, you will find anything, and if not online, but yeah, just search for it.
Great. Well, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about safety. How safe is Chicago, and do you feel safe?
So Chicago's reputation is quite bad. I'm aware of that. We have like killings every day, and that's a true fact. However, I'm living here for 2 years now, and never ever did something happen to me, and I feel the same safety than I felt back in Munich in Germany. So I'm walking around the streets alone as a woman also during the night, and if you are a bit smart about it and, you know, not listen to music very loud and turn your head from time to time, you're all good.
Okay, how do you meet people?
So there are many, many activities, especially in the summer. I have the feeling that during the winter, Chicagoans like to cave a little bit, but especially during the summer, we have like festivals going on and street markets, food markets, and the typical American is very open-minded and very interested in having a chat with a foreigner.
Great. So you moved from Germany. What was the visa process like?
So there are very different kinds of visa. I moved here during the transition between Trump and Obama, so it was quite a tough choice. I heard it's getting easier now, but the easiest way is to get a company sponsoring your visa process.
Okay, is it a long process to get a visa?
It took me 7 months to get my work permit, and it took me like 2 months to get my visa.
Did you have to be in Germany the whole time, or could you come to America while that was being processed?
You can come to America before that, you're just not allowed to work. And that's something to be very careful about. It's also not possible to do volunteer work and stuff like that, so I would consider that financially.
Okay. What's the healthcare like, and would you feel comfortable getting a procedure in Chicago?
It's very different to Germany. So the systems are very different. My experience is as long as you are insured and you have some money for some procedures, it's perfect. I mean, we have, as I said, 2 big hospitals here. We have the University of Chicago with all the med students, so it's very easy to find a doctor, and I would feel very comfortable with the procedure. However, it is costly, so I highly recommend to have an insurance for that.
And do you get insured through your employer, or how would you get insurance?
Yes. So in my case, I'm getting insured by the employer of my husband. In other cases, it's better to do a private insurance.
And do you think that Chicago is a good travel hub? Why or why not?
It is. I mean, we have like the Chicago O'Hare Airport. It's a huge one, not the best one, but it's a huge hub. So it's very easy to go from here to South America or back to Europe or Asia. So it's a bit more expensive flight-wise than compared to the European flight market. However, if you plan ahead, it's quite a good airport.
Tell us again how people can get in touch with you.
So you can find me and my work on my website, sharethelove.blog, and I also got a newsletter you can sign up to or follow me on Instagram.
Lastly, can you tell us some pros and cons about living in Chicago?
Con, winter. It is long and it's cold, but I have the feeling that the reputation is way worse than it's the reality. It's just that people tend to hide, so it's hard maybe to find friends and stuff like that. But the pro is definitely the vibe. So we are the entrance to the Midwest. It's not that big and huge as New York. So living in New York can be a bit much for you. But Chicago has everything about culture, museums, opera, but it's still very small. You can walk a lot, and it's just about 3 million people. So it's quite a nice size for a city.
Well, great. Kate, thanks so much for telling us today about life in Chicago.
Thank you very much.